Donald J. Trump is a lot smarter than most people give him credit for. He has seen something that most people have missed, especially on the left. You would think they would be a happy group of people now, but they aren't. Donald Trump has realized that governance in America has changed. The power structures have changed. DC is no longer relevant. He outlined that very clearly the last 4 years. They are not relevant. That's why they are chasing their tails now. Why are they so unhappy? Why are they so confused? Because they haven't moved the needle. Elections are a snapshot of one day, one moment in time. The opinions of a large group of people just at that moment. And they can say whatever they want to about the election, but they haven't moved the needle. This is what is confusing them. This is what is keeping them up at nights. And trust me, they are staying up at night, wondering, why aren't more people watching CNN? Why aren't more people watching our channels on YouTube? Why are we getting such a huge dislike ratio? They don't understand that. Here's what they don't get. We're going to start here. Isoroku Yamamoto. This was in the lead up to World War II. His quote, "The most important thing we have to do, first of all, in a war with the U.S., I firmly believe, is to fiercely attack and destroy the U.S. main fleet at the outset of the war so that the morale of the U.S. Navy and her people goes down to such an extent that it cannot be recovered." You see, that's what they thought they were going to do to you. That's what they thought they were going to do to Trump voters. That they were going to destroy your morale. Destroy your organization. They've even gone as far as to employ the social media giants. What they don't realize, though, is that elections and governance occur in real life, not online. And then after Pearl Harbor, everyone is very familiar with this quote, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve." That is what has happened. On the ground, in reality, across this country, in mayor's races, in town council races, school boards, governors, conservatism and Trumpism has a new life. Even though he's not in the White House. There was more of a movement back during the Obama years than there was during the Trump years to put Trump in office. And that has now sprung a new life again. And then afterward, after their failure, actually, at Pearl Harbor, quote, "In the first 6 to 12 months of a war with the United States and Great Britain, I will run wild and win victory upon victory. But then if the war continues after that, I have no expectation of success." And he was right. Isoroku Yamamoto, Japanese Imperial Navy. Florida is just the beginning. Florida is just a bellwether. It always has been, and it still is. Joe Biden got thumped badly in Florida. That terrified them. No matter what other plans they had, they couldn't move the needle in Florida. And that terrifies them. Their irrelevance at the national, federal level is what is keeping them up at nights. Because our peace was not disturbed. Our peace was not disturbed. I don't think it's any strange coincidence that we had no problems last summer when the rest of the country was having all of the riots and the marches and all that. We didn't have that down here. We didn't have anything like that down here. And I tried to put all of these images in one place so that people could kind of soak it in. And here's really the crux of this. If you wanted to focus in on one point, this is it. For the last 30 years, the mainstream media on the left has been coaxing and coaching people to operate based on how they feel. Let me say that again. For the last 30 years, the mainstream media on the left has been coaxing and coaching people to operate in an emotional state. Now, because of the results of the last election, they want you to immediately shift gears and talk about facts first, and thought-based this, and thought-based that, and thought-based the other. That's completely antithetical to their religion. And make no mistake, leftism is a religion. It has its canon, it has its belief systems, it has its cardinals and its leaders and all this kind of stuff. And their people are like, what are we supposed to feel now? What are we supposed to feel now? That's what the picture in the upper left's about. See, they're completely lost. As far as they're rudderless. Even with all of their allies. Even with all of their allies in the social media giants, they aren't moving the needle. They aren't moving the needle. The reason I use the picture on the right of Brooke Baldwin is because in that image, they are literally trying to mimic Fox News. In that image, they are literally trying to mimic Fox News. They have all of the visuals. They have the pretty girl, they have the makeup, the hair done, they have the nice tiny little dress. You know, they've got the camera angles set so that you can see top to bottom, foot to head, all this kind of stuff. That's all Fox News trickery. But it's CNN. And that's what makes it hilarious. Lower center woke up in a great mood, and it's gone. Where were all the parades? Where were all the parties? Where were all of the people so happy about Joe Biden? They are still rioting and protesting in the Northwest. They are still angry. They are still upset, confused, fearful. You wouldn't have thought they won. You listen to them and you would have thought they lost. Meanwhile, a Republican representative from California is meeting today with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, Kevin McCarthy. Now ask yourself a question, why would that be? Why would that be? Because the reality on the ground for the next 2 to 4 years is there is going to be a huge sweep in local government. Local government. Everybody is talking about it. We are going to reactivate and we are going to get, quote unquote, boots on the ground, so to speak, in neighborhoods, in counties, in regions. And we are going to just simply put these people to the test. Do you support Donald Trump? Yes or no? If you do, we're voting for you. If you don't, we're not. Locally. Most have said, we're going to give up on the federal elections. We're going to control our states. And this is what has them terrified. I'd mentioned this before. Say what you want about Big Mike and his wife Barry. They're not stupid people. They see this wave coming. It was the first words out of his mouth after Biden won. It had me so perplexed. It really did when he first said it, but then it dawned on me. Then it dawned on me what was going on. They weren't happy. The first thing Barry said was, we have to worry about the 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump. That was the first thing on his mind. And then he reiterated it. And then so did Big Mike in interviews. You see, they've tried to make this about unity or something. It's like, there's no unity. In fact, there's the exact opposite of unity. There is the exact opposite of unity. Sorry about that. 1 second. There's no hope for unity. They've completely destroyed that now. They've completely destroyed that idea. And Donald Trump knows it. That's why coming back to Florida, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. He wants to live in a state with proper governance. Because when you do live in a state with proper governance, you have nothing to worry about. It doesn't matter who is in the White House. Do you know why it doesn't matter who is in the White House? Because no matter what Joe Biden would say, no matter what his dictates would be, to make those things happen on the ground, they need the collusion of the states, and the states need the collusion of the localities. Governor DeSantis said it best when he was talking about FEMA. FEMA is down here in Florida all the time. FEMA is federally financed, administered at the state, but executed locally. Federally financed, state administered, locally executed. It does not matter what the federal government does or says now if they don't have the cooperation and the collusion of the states and localities. They are neuter and powerless. And that's why you should be overjoyed at this moment. You should be absolutely overjoyed. Because on the ground, the needle has not moved. The needle has not moved. And Donald Trump knows it. These people on the left can do nothing about this. They can get on the news and they can complain and they can whine and they can point fingers and they can call names and they can do all this kind of stuff and they can do cancel culture online and they can dominate Twitter, and in real life it will mean nothing. And that's what's driving them nuts. Online is not translating to in real life. Online is not translating into real life, and Donald Trump knows this. Donald Trump knows this. He might be the smartest man on the planet at the moment. And I guess I will just leave that there. Like, share, subscribe.